Welcome to this week's episode of Angie from the Archives. We appreciate everyone patiently waiting for some exciting new episodes of Another Not Guilty. But while you wait, we have remastered some of our first original episodes with better, cleaner audio. This has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that we may have switched podcasting platforms and everything to do with the fact that we planned this all along. Without further ado, enjoy this vintage episode of Another Not Guilty.
He was dating a lady who had 2 children and was playing father to them, basically. They were put up to say some stuff that didn't really happen. He deserves a right to trial. You don't question that. Everyone gets a right to trial. And then there'd be some clown who's like, he's sitting there, he must be guilty. I'm telling someone you hit me. Now what? You're going to get arrested. You're going to be sitting there. You're going to take a deal? You're going to admit you hit me? No, because I didn't hit you. Exactly. And someone's going to say, well, you're sitting here at a defense trial. You must be guilty. That's all it takes. Someone can say something and you can get arrested. And you're not going to take a deal just because you got arrested, right? So just because someone says something doesn't make it true and reasonable.
Welcome to Another Not Guilty. I'm David.
I'm Nikhil.
We're public defenders here to share the untold stories of the criminal justice system.
Objection. That assumes there's justice in the system, which there ain't. I prefer calling it the American criminal system.
Okay, stories from the American criminal system from the forbidden point of view, also known as the point of view of the defense. These stories are about the many not guilties we public defenders achieve on a daily basis in an unjust criminal system with the deck stacked against us. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Not Guilty.
We're lucky to have with us today Mr. Willis.
Mr. Willis.
Willis.
Say hello to everybody, Mr. Willis.
Hello, everybody.
And before we get to Mr. Willis again, hello, my name's David.
And I'm Nikhil.
We are defense attorneys here, bringing you the message of the struggle. But sometimes we prevail, as Mr. Willis. Okay, Mr. Willis.
Yes.
Say hi.
Hi, my name is Mr. Willis. I have been fortunate enough to succeed in a trial where my client
So you got not guilty?
heard the words not guilty.
I mean, what a glorious feeling.
Woo.
Glorious feeling. Relieving feeling.
Yeah.
That feels great. Listen, hearing not guilty. Do you like hearing not guilty?
You know, it depends.
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 Yeah.
On what, Mr. Willis?
As long as not guilty isn't. If not guilty by itself is great.
Right.
Yeah. And I love hearing it when the clerk says it.
I know.
As opposed to when I say it at arraignment.
Sometimes I'm scared. I'm like, wait, did you hear a not? 'Cause sometimes they say it fast. They're like, not guilty. Wait, was there a not in there? Did you hear a
That's
not?
funny you say that because that happened in this case.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow.
Right. Actually, there was a couple of charges, 10-2, and the judge asked, and I had to Spanish interpreter. They said not guilty, right? They said not guilty, right?
See.
So yeah, it was like 6 charges.
Got it. So let's start at the beginning.
I'll tell you from the beginning, it was one of the favorites, and I use that sarcastically, was what we call a PC dump. You know, private counsel did the preliminary hearing, which is something I hate, not being able to have a feel for the case, not being able to interview or see the witnesses on the stand.
Right.
So I had it was my day of pickup. That's my good morning. Welcome to your day.
And the private defense attorney just came in and dumped the case.
Well,
Worse than that,
yeah.
it was just a pile of paper and stacks sitting on the defense counsel desk, and the clerk was like, sorry. That's yours.
That's yours, huh?
So I it's like, oh, no problem until I saw the charges.
Then you open the page and you're like, what is it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what was it?
And a bunch of 288s, which it's like 6 charges.
And what's a 288?
Lewd conduct with the minor. But
And what's a minor in
case? There were 2 minors. One was under 14, the other was under 10.
Oh, okay. And those are 2. There's a distinction in the charges between 14 and 10.
Yes, 10 and 10 and 14 seem to be the magic numbers with ages. I think they just randomly pick those. I guess that has something to do with the maturity of the child or the vulnerability of a child. So one was a penetration of a child under 10, which is potential life case. The other was a rape of a child under 14. And then there was a continuous rape of a child under 14, which is a life case as well. So if there's more than 3 incidents within a specific amount of time, found guilty, could be facing life for that as well.
All right, so you get this this stack of cases in the morning, and then the client's in custody, I imagine.
Yes. So Spanish interpreter, have to meet with him and talk to him through a Spanish interpreter. But fortunately, he did speak and understand some English, so it helped. We can meet on video conferences, and I didn't always have to worry about an interpreter coming, and because that could be a hassle. But I want to say one of the first things that I did do, maybe not the first thing, but one thing I did I thought was crucial, was I saw where the preliminary hearing was conducted, and I was familiar with the judge, the court reporter, and the bailiff, the clerk in that courtroom. So some random morning, walk in while I was slow in the court, and I started chopping it up with the clerk, started talking to the bailiff and the court reporter, and was like, do you guys remember this case? And they're like, yes, we do. And for me, my experience, most court reporters seem to be a little jaded about defendants, and the bailiffs or officers, they never seem to be too defendant friendly. But they both remembered and said, yeah, I don't know about that case. Wow. I think one of those girls was lying. I don't know about the other one. So they made me feel like I have an argument. I could probably win.
If these skeptical people are already kind of leaning towards you, it's here.
Right. And it's weeks, if not months after the prelim. So it just didn't happen yesterday, and they remembered it, because it's not every day you have some girls getting up and testifying about being molested by their stepdad, who's not their father. That was also the thing. He was dating a lady who had 2 children, who he helped bring over from another country, and was playing father to them, basically.
Got it.
So
you won that case?
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right. I remember you told me about it.
Wait a minute. Was that in character?
No, I'm serious. I remember you told me about the case, and I was like,
so yeah.
Okay.
So put it over to review a lot of discovery, see what kind of offer they were making, which was always double digits. And he was like, I'm not taking it.
And what kind of double digits are we talking about?
I mean,
20s?
Nah, I would say, I think the last offer may have been like 14 to 16 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which, you have a date, but at the same time, if you didn't do anything, that's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, what are the girls saying happened?
Well,
in the reports, were the reports consistent? They did some sort of like forensic exam on them, maybe.
Yeah. So what happened was there were 2 girls. One came over first, and she was 6 at the time. Shortly thereafter, the second daughter came over. She was 10, and they said that soon after arriving, he started molesting them, touching them, even having sex with the 10-year-old. And
the 14-year-old saying this.
Yeah. So this started when she was 10. Now she's 16 now by the time we're in trial.
Okay.
So 16 and 12, I believe, when we go to trial. There was 4 years difference.
And as soon as he came over from Guatemala.
He brought them over.
Oh, he brought them over.
Yeah. It's funny you say Guatemala. I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
That's some other story, you guys.
We were talking about Guatemala earlier.
Off before we recorded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not take any.
It wasn't Guatemala.
Guatemala.
It's one of the many other Spanish-speaking countries we have.
So she's saying he was raping her pretty much every weekend.
Wow.
And he was gone all throughout the week. He came home from working throughout the week and would proceed to rape her on the weekends.
In the house that they all lived in.
Right.
And where would the mama be during this? That's
somewhere in the house, maybe in the kitchen.
Got it.
Maybe sleeping.
Okay.
So
and was there any indication where the sister was during this too?
So what happened, they had a 1-bedroom. They would all be in a bedroom, but then the older one would go sleep in the living room. He would go out into the living room and allegedly molest her, rape her.
Got it.
The younger one indicated that it started, everyone would get up and they would just be in bed in the morning, and he would start pulling her towards him, rubbing his penis on her butt. And initial charges indicated penetration of the butt.
Wow.
And those got dismissed at the prelim.
Interesting.
It's because the story just didn't match. There's nothing to show that this girl's butt had ever been tampered with.
Got it.
I believe. So.
Tampered with.
No breaking and entering. Not even tampering. Okay.
So those never made it to the Superior Court.
So
I would say for the most part, he showed the girl. I mean, I think the girl's he did a job.
Adequate
say
competence.
he did enough to show that these girls' story was kind of fishy. But like I said, even the bailiff and the court reporter thought something was up with it. So he did enough to get some counts dismissed. But still, guys still looking at life.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the mom charged him with domestic violence.
In that same case or
Yeah.
separately? Wow.
Same. So he was looking at 5 felonies, I think, domestic violence, 3 rapes, and a penetration.
Wow.
Something
Okay.
like that. So we put it over to review. I had records. So I will it's unfortunate at times you have to say the DA did his job because he turned over clearly Brady material, which was DCFS records. So the way the story came out in my eyes is that this girl came over when she was 10. At 12 years old, the DCFS gets an anonymous call from some neighbor saying the mom is partying, doing drugs in front of the children, leaving the children home alone at night. And I don't know, haven't seen it, but I've heard that the husband is sexually molesting the oldest daughter.
This is an anonymous call that comes into
Right.
DCFS?
Right. So
when you read that, what did you think? This is good for your case or not good for your case?
well, I read and I was like, well, nothing. I mean, I guess what I have to do is what came next is DCFS had to go out and investigate.
Right. Okay, so that's what the caller said. Okay.
So DCFS gets out and says, does mom do drugs? Does your mom leave your home alone? And children are denying it altogether. Well, what about the father, stepdad, or her boyfriend? Does he touch you? No. He would never do anything to hurt us. He loves us like children. We love him like a dad, and he would never do anything to hurt us. So DCFS is like, okay, well, we're going to drug test you.
The mom or the
parents?
The parents, got it.
I want to say the parents, but clearly he's the
stepdad.
dad,
Got
right?
it. So parental figure.
He's like, fine. For my job, I get drug tested. We don't do drugs. It's not a problem. So they come back and do a random drug test, and the mom tests positive
For meth?
Whoa.
for meth.
Whoa.
For test positive for meth. Father, defendant, negative. So DCFS is saying, hey, we got to
take these kids away.
We're going to have a hearing. You have a right to have a hearing.
Yeah.
You can have a hearing to keep your kids, but we think we're going to take them away. And the mom says, take the kids.
She voluntarily gave him away?
Gives them away.
She's doing math, man. She's
Right.
not interested in keeping the kids.
So the kids are taken out of the home. The kids are taken out of the home. And they're taken out of the home for about 4 months. And during those 4 months, they maintain a relationship with stepdad. Miss him. He's going to visit. He's working all week, comes home on the weekends. He goes out and meets with them. So the fact that the DCFS workers on multiple times inquired about the potential sexual history and after interviewing the children still felt comfortable that after 4 months they can return back to the home made me feel like we got a good case here.
Yeah.
Because
that's their job, right? I mean, their job is to assess that and to find out if there is this potential danger of sexual abuse.
And there's some news stories, DCFS workers they're human. They may mess up. They may miss some things. And some kids have been put in some more unfortunate circumstances and situations because they didn't do their job properly. Of course, I didn't think that was the case here. These were the best DCFS workers that ever graced the planet.
I mean, there's children we're talking about.
Right.
Children.
These are experts.
You're right.
Experts.
Right.
Charged with the defense of children. Right.
So,
protection.
Yeah. So I interviewed, I didn't interview any. I reviewed the records and I tried to get them subpoenaed to come in and testify about what they did. So that helped out.
And this was during the same time period that the alleged conduct was going on, right?
And that to me was the biggest key, was that as it came out throughout the trial, was that these girls were saying they were getting raped just about every weekend. And they never told anyone. And so if I can go back to voir dire, which I think was probably the most important part of this trial, was that anytime you heard these charges, you had people's faces cringing up and just like disgust and didn't want to, I ought to see, I can't stand that. And then you had some grown men. I'll say one man was like in his 60s, 70s, and he would be crying about when he was molested when he was a child. And you see people get hella emotional about their personal experience. You get people getting emotional about their child or their relative or someone. So you see these grown folks in tears just reflecting on something that happened decades ago. And one lady in particular was saying, yeah, me and my sister were molested and we didn't tell anyone because he threatened to hurt my mom and dad. And I was like, well, that sucks because that's kind of what these girls are going to say when they get on the stand. And that's what they were arguing. That's why they never told anyone. And so part of my questioning, if I can go that far, is that you didn't tell anyone because you were scared that he would harm your sister or he would kill your mom. So you didn't tell anyone. And you made sure not to tell anyone. Because if you told anyone, someone could die. You were afraid of that. Of course, yeah. So my thinking was if some random person comes to you a day or two after you were supposed to be getting raped and ask you about it, you would freak out like, how the hell do you know? How would you come to this? Because now, if you know, then now he may know and now my mom or my sister may die.
The danger's real now.
So this is what, on voir dire, you brought this up?
No, not, but the voir dire is where I realized that
Yeah.
this is going to be an issue because some lady just said it in open court.
That she was afraid of like someone
that's what I think, like I said, some of these situations are very serious and tragic. And most of these things happen because people don't want to tell because out of fear that some loved one has been threatened. So if some person on jury in the voir dire says that, I think that added credibility to their story.
To
if
any
they were to say
claim
that.
of
does
this,
happen.
yeah.
Right. So I had to counter that. And I felt by focusing on how serious it was that no one knew because you were afraid to tell anyone that if someone did ask you, you would have some reaction. And I found it very hard to believe that some 14-year-old or 12-year-old at the time would keep a straight face.
Yeah, and be able to manipulate
to a DCFS employee.
Worker.
So,
yeah.
And by the way, those DCF employees they were not happy to be up on the stand. I mean, like a colleague said, that's like having cops come up testify for a defendant.
Oh no, yeah.
So it was like, come on, just what is your report?
So, back to how many with voir dire, this was a life case, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got 20 peremptories.
20 peremptories.
Normally in a regular felony case, you get 10. What was your game plan going into voir dire? Who were you looking for or what were you trying to avoid?
I remember thinking I wanted people who were at least going to be open-minded, who can, I feel like
there's no ideal juror for a rape case. If you're doing a DUI, you don't want someone who's, been
the victim
of a drunk driver
or mother's a kid or
you don't want that, obviously. So you don't want someone who domestic violence, you don't want someone who's been a victim of domestic violence. So for this, it wasn't so much as you don't want someone who's been a victim of being molested as a child, but you didn't want someone who just looked at it with such disgust that they couldn't even hear someone clearly lying, which is so. In one thing, I had a guy who said he was a victim of domestic violence by his boyfriend. And this was a domestic violence case as well. So, but they also asked, have you ever been a victim of any crimes? And he said, yeah, I had my car stolen. And the judge was like, well, did you ever get your car back? And he's like, pieces of it. And I was like, okay, this guy's a comedian. So you've been a victim of domestic violence, but you're still able, while we're talking about a 288 in this child molesting case, you're still able to joke about having your car stolen and parts of it. I was like, okay, you seem to be well grounded. You seem to be able to look at things for what they are. So I want to keep you. I had a lady who had 3 children, but I felt like she was someone who was no nonsense. So she knows her children can lie. She knows that children can fabricate stuff. So I feel like even in domestic violence cases, you have women up there because women are going to be able to tell if another woman's lying or not.
Yeah.
And they're going to hold them to some higher standard, probably, maybe unfairly, but not for my client. All right. So I wanted people who didn't cringe when they heard the charge, who were able to talk about anything, open-minded, and actually listen. And
did you address like the fragile witnesses? Because these are like going to be like little girls or a 16-year-old, but they're kids. I mean,
what I made an issue was I compared it to officers, and my client deserved his fair trial. And the same way you wouldn't just believe officers because they're wearing a badge, you can't just
believe a kid.
kids because they're children. The people have the burden. And that's one of the things I try to stress in every case. A fair juror is someone who comes in with a clean slate, no prejudices against my client or anyone, but also going to hold the people to their burden.
And just for the audience, let's just make sure they understand that Willis is a renowned, actually, I would say notorious, and very proclaimed jury selector.
Yes.
I mean, this is someone who I think that this
I
is
feel
not
like I'm having flashbacks to the training
Yeah.
that I attended that he did on voir dire,
Yeah.
actually.
So I mean, and people will say like by the time Willis finishes with the jury and jury selection, I mean, they're eating out of his hand. You know, they're gonna do what he wants. He's like a conductor of an orchestra, and they're gonna go in the direction that he leads them. I just, I have to put that out there.
Yeah,
Conductor.
it's a great fable. Or
But what about Puppet Master?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh.
that'd be good.
Well, that goes more to the negative stereotype that we have as defense attorneys.
True.
So I want to stay away from the Puppet Master.
I like to think it's about
Master.
not being a lawyer.
Being,
I think it's about being a person.
Okay.
I think our society puts a lot on we get a lot of credit for being lawyers. They're like, oh, I'm gonna listen to him. He's a lawyer, and it's like, I'm just I just took the bar and passed. That's all. But, so they let me speak to you guys. They let me represent people. But if you talk to people on a level that they understand, instead of trying to
Sound like a lawyer.
be a lawyer and let me sound like I know all these big words and stuff, I think that's where you can lose people. And in this case was something where I stressed, they still have the burden. Just because these kids get up here and they're going to cry, that doesn't mean you believe them. They have to be consistent. They have to be credible. They have to be reliable. And if those factors, if they don't have that, then the people aren't meeting their burden. And people would say, these charges are just so sad. I was like, no one likes these charges. Everyone hates these charges. These are not fans' favorites. These are not fan favorite charges. You know who hates these charges more than anyone? My guy over there. That guy. You think he likes these charges? He's the one sitting there facing these. And I think people understand, okay, yeah, no one likes these charges. He's entitled to his.
Did you point to him or walk over and put your hand on his shoulder?
I pointed to him as I was standing in front of the jury and the witness stand.
Why, you didn't want to touch your client?
No,
gross?
I touched him quite a bit, that above the shoulders, of course. But yeah, whenever I get a chance to, I always walk over, put my arm around him, say his first name, like he was my boy. This is my buddy right here. He deserves a right to trial. You don't question that. Everyone gets a right to trial. You can mad at him because he's exercising his constitutional rights? Come on now. You can't do that. And then there'd be some clown who's like, he's sitting there. He must be guilty.
Yeah, I always hate that
you
guy.
You know what? I'm telling someone you hit me. Now what? You're going to get arrested. You're going to be sitting there. You're going to take a deal? You're going to admit you hit me? No, because I didn't hit you. Exactly. So you're going to have to be sitting here at a defense table during the trial. And someone's going to say, well, you're sitting here at a defense trial. You must be guilty. And I had other jurors sitting there like, oh, yeah, that guy just doesn't get it. Oh, wow, these people are with me.
There we go.
They're feeling me. They're feeling me. So,
How do you respond to this guy? Well, the prosecutor wouldn't even bring the case if they didn't have the evidence. So that's why, so you must be guilty.
No, that's two different things.
That's two different things than
people
what?
make police make a report. That's enough to get you arrested. That's enough to get you arrested. You agree to that. That's all it takes. Someone can say something and you can get arrested. And you're not going to take a deal just because you got arrested, right? So you got someone saying something, that's enough to get arrested, but that's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
That's
why we're here.
What was the prosecutor's voir dire like?
One of my favorite things is the prosecutor said, just because someone says something doesn't make it true and reasonable.
Oh, and you're trying to make an accusation at you?
I don't know what the hell she was talking about.
Whoa, okay.
But I use that phrase every time I got up for my next voir dire.
Wow, they just gave you a defense right there.
The thing is, every time when you got 20 voir dires, motherfuckers are getting kicked. They're getting kicked. So, all right, you can go. I didn't like the way you cringed you can go. So when you get down the traditional 6-pack, where after 7 people out of the 18, you have to put up 7 more. Is that fair enough for your audience?
Yeah, that's not big.
So I get up to speak again. And I said, I have to say what the DA said. I hope you all guys remember that. Just because someone says something doesn't make it true and reasonable. I can't stress that enough. I agree with her 100%. And so every time I got up, I said that. And so I don't know where she was going with that.
Did the DA counter with, well, I mean, but if they seem pretty consistent
No,
and,
I don't think she had it. I think
she had no idea.
She had to keep going with it.
She didn't like try
But
to counter
I don't
that?
think she repeated it again. But I said it about 3 more times in the voir dire. And I think I said in closing. I think she was trying to say, one of her voir dires was, about a boxing match. There's a guy in red shorts, a guy in green shorts. And the guy in red shorts knocks down the guy in green shorts. And you ask someone afterwards, how many times did he hit him? And the guy says, oh, he hit him 3 times and he fell down. Then someone else says he hit him once and knocked him down. And they may be different on how many times he got hit, but they'll all agree that he knocked him down. So, okay, I see what she's trying to say. So I'm sorry if I jump around here, but in closing, I said, we're not talking about how many times the person was hit. In this case, I wasn't talking about how many times you may have penetrated. I'm asking, where did it happen? Now, if I ask you where it happened once, you said the fight happened at Staples. Then I ask you another, you said it happened at the Forum in Inglewood. That's not reliable. That's not credible. It's not consistent. So you can't even tell me where the fight took place. How do I believe you about anything you have to say? Which is what the whole case is about.
That was your closing?
I did mention that in the closing.
Okay, so how long was jury selection?
1 week. Took 1 week to pick a jury.
And is that normal?
But I will say there were half days.
Okay.
So, but
how many panels did you burn?
That's a great question.
Did you have to get a second?
I think we did have to get a second one. I think we did have to get a second one. But I don't think I used I think I used over 10 peremptories.
Okay. And then with the panel, you get what, 50 jurors?
Or 60?
Is it 60?
Yeah, I think we had
It's 60. We have our statistician back there
60.
nodding her head.
So we also had, not only did I use a lot of peremptories, but we had a lot of people kick for cause because they just would start crying.
Yeah, this charge especially gets a lot of kicks for cause.
Was the judge seem all right in this case?
Yeah, talk a little bit, because you're talking about voir dire, and I say, in my experience, some at least more conservative judges are a little bit more like, if you got up and just made a statement or started talking about something, they'd be like, whoa, this is not a question. They cut you off of voir dire. Were you able to voir dire the way you wanted to voir dire?
Yes, that stage was mine.
There we go.
And yeah, I don't recall it really any interruption from the judge or the DA. I like to think they both were just as in awe. Yeah.
The fabled master.
They were like,
Mr. Willis here. Yeah, Willis is on stage taking notes.
I'm running with that. I'm going to run with that.
So, all right. So then you get your jury, and I guess it's time to roll out the evidence. Or there's opening statements, but it's time to roll out the evidence, right? So how'd the trial go?
Well, I got to say there was a lot of arguing in the
sidebar?
In the chambers about what evidence should come in.
Okay, so 402s.
Yeah, because it was pretty big. What happens is, and I don't know if a lot of people knew, I don't think I knew this, but SIGIS, Special Immigration.
Juvenile Status.
Yes. So what happens is, as we talked about earlier, why this mom voluntarily gave up her children. What happens is that these 2 children who came over, not in the most legal fashion, I would say, courtesy of my client, who's a big sponsor of that financially. They're not here legally. However, if they are victims of neglect
or abuse,
yeah, and then they're taken from the home and become
wards of the state.
Thank you. They can then become legally, they can have green card. Or I think
it's legal residence.
Legal residents potentially get a green card.
Yeah.
So what happens is, in the example, the anonymous phone call turns out to be a neighbor, a friend.
Oh, someone they knew.
According to the mom, she believes the person who was smoking meth with her.
Oh, wow.
Now, the mom says she never did drugs. The first time she did drugs was after the DCFS employee came and told her we're going to drug test her.
Drugs.
Or
she did it for her children.
I'm going to be positive when you test me again. Mm-hmm. So when my children are taken from me because of my neglect, they would be put in the home for 3-4 months, come back home, and be here legally.
There we go.
I mean, that's why it was voluntary, too. Just like, here you go.
Right. Now, the crazy thing is I'm trying to argue the mom knew this because none of these allegations came out until the children were able to fly back home. First time they've ever been on a plane because they didn't come here by a plane.
Yeah.
They fly back home, not to Guatemala, to another Spanish-speaking place south of here. And they spend the summer back home visiting old relatives and seeing family and friends. And the mom can't go.
So wait, I think I don't. All right, so
I'm a little lost.
I'm a little lost.
Okay.
So the mom voluntarily gives up the kids,
right?
And then she's a good mom, so she smokes meth. And then the kids fly back to
all right.
country.
Let me say I did skip something. I think the way it came out, according to her, now obviously drug users deny all the time, but she was like, I've never done it. I did after the DCFS worker came. So my argument was she wanted to test positive
so that she can get
the children will be taken from her, and they got put into a foster home for 4 months.
That's how they became wards of the state.
So during that time, client mom would visit. Mom completed all her drug classes and parenting classes, did everything she's supposed to do, stayed out of trouble. Children are interviewed. They want to go back home to my client and their mom. They come back home and they stay there for another year where apparently and allegedly he starts raping them again. And then after a year, he buys them a ticket back home to visit family for the summer. And while they're at home visiting family, he and his wife, the mom, get into an argument where he says something about having sex with the oldest daughter. Mom calls down and speaks with her aunt, says she never talks to the kids about it. And they come up with their story about how he was touching them. And when they come back, she's already told the police. So she takes them, does a report. So now she's cooperating. So here's the thing about SIGIS, the SIGS,
that's right,
Special Immigration
Juvenile Status.
You can never petition for your parents to get legal status. Any other time, any other situation, if you're here legally,
then you can petition for relatives
to come in. You can never petition for the mom who neglected you to come in to be legal. The judge would not let me bring that up because I didn't have the mom saying that's why I did it. So there were some big heated arguments like,
there's a clear motive.
Circumstantial.
Yeah.
I mean, when someone goes into the store and steals something, they never say I went in and take it. You say, based upon the circumstances, you must have committed a burglary. So I don't have anyone saying, yeah, she told me she knew about this. But based upon the circumstances, I think that's fair to argue. So she seemed to be okay with it. I mentioned it in opening. Mm-hmm. And then I was not allowed to.
So you got a little nugget. Yeah. You got a little nugget in, but you didn't get to get the whole thing out. So I get it. So that's what he's trying to say is that she learned that if their kids got that SIGIS status based on her smoking meth, then she would never get legal status. But if it was because of the third party or his client that caused the sexual abuse or any abuse, then and that he was the reason why they were taken out of the home.
Okay.
Then she could be petitioned to also get legal status. So she had a clue. I mean, it's establishing this motive.
And that's why. I mean, that's also why there was a domestic violence charge then too, right?
I believe so.
So she's a victim now.
Is the issue right there then too. If she's a victim
now, so you throw it all on the wall. My children are victims of sexual abuse. Then I'm
also domestic violence.
And if I'm a victim of domestic violence, then I can get my legal status here.
And the judge would not let you bring that into evidence. Question.
No.
Because you couldn't prove
she seemed like it at first, right?
Because you couldn't prove she knew that that's the status.
Even though they've been in the system a year before the sexual charge allegations came about, right?
Right.
Like the whole them going into foster care, that was like a year ago before the sexual abuse allegations arose, right?
Right.
So she could have been obviously been educated.
Well, it's kind of absurd because what way would you be able to ever prove that she knew unless you she consulted with a lawyer that would be privileged, right? And then, I mean, that someone told her this or she read a book or...
Right. And here's my other argument is that when she was to find out, when she found out that this was supposed to have happened, the first call wasn't to the police. It was to the social worker who helped her children get legal status.
Oh, interesting.
So he was talking to these kids, trying to help the mom reunite with her family. Okay. He was being the good guy.
Yeah.
He also testified.
Oh, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, that was
So the judge didn't allow in that. Anything else about 402s? It came in, didn't come in?
Well, I will just say that at some point, I would walk out of chambers and people were in the courtroom like, was that you and the judge yelling back there? Because we were loud and it was almost like a foreplay. We both just enjoyed yelling at each other and having an argument. What pissed me off is the DA didn't have to say anything.
Oh,
The judge
really?
was doing the job for
Yeah.
her.
Oh,
And the
gotcha.
DA told me that she was like, "Good point, Willis. Good point, Judge."
Oh,
Oh, that's a good point, Willis. Well, that's a good point, Judge. Didn't have to say anything.
Just kind of
Just sitting
being
there
the role of
listening,
the judge, kind of almost.
right. And so, I think the biggest 402 was trying to get in the immigration issue. They had some, text messages that I believe were taken out of context that I end up using to turn in my favor as well. But I think that was the biggest 402 because it seemed like she was going to let me, which is why I was able to say it in my opening, and then later shut me down where I couldn't mention anything about their legal status.
so all right. So then the I guess the first witness is the 16-year-old.
Yes, and she's all over the place. Just
Okay.
cut to it. So of course, she's saying this happened, that happened, and telling her story. And my cross-examination, if I can get to that, was I have the transcript from the preliminary hearing. I have the transcripts from the interview with the officers.
Right.
And I have my notes from what you just testified to about what happened and where it happened. And she went from the first time it happened that he touched me was on the couch. And I kicked him off and nothing. He didn't do anything to me. But in the prelim, the first time he ever touched you was in the bedroom and you guys actually had sex. And then in the officer's statement, the first time he did it was on the couch in the living room. And so my argument back to what the voir dire was is that you remember the first time, no matter what, because your life's changed after that. And so when the first time happened, you said it was here, you said it was here, you said it was here, you said this happened. You gave a lot of different stories. Yeah, so I figured if they believed her, it happened once. It happened continuously, and this man was going down. So I had to attack the first time. You got to remember the first time. And he told me he was trying to teach her to drive, and he would drive. He was a truck driver, and so she would be out on the road with him all along. Never heard anything happen, so I felt very comfortable asking a question I didn't know the answer to because I thought I knew the answer. I was like, "So you'd be out on the road with him and nothing happened, right?"
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, something happened.
Whoa, something did happen. You ever tell anyone about that? No.
Not the DCFS, not
Never
the
told anyone
cops,
about
not the
it.
prelim.
So
And
this is for the first time now. She's bringing up another incident.
Right. So what happened? Did you guys actually have sex? No, he just touched me and this and that, and I stopped him. Okay. Then on redirect, the DA asked about it. All of a sudden, no, we pulled off to the side. We got into the back of the truck and we had full on sex. And I
Oh,
was like,
whoa.
wow. Okay.
Oh, because you're such an evil questioner, and then when the DA must have got up there, she must have been like real soft and like polite and warm and comforting, and that's what really got her to tell the truth. Is that what happened?
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is a lot of these people look at the district attorney like to guide them for how am I supposed to answer these questions. And if you're asking me a question, I'm supposed to say yeah to.
Yes, too.
I think she just started writing that.
That's the yes person. You're
Right.
the no person.
Right.
There
And
we
so
go.
the question you're asking me is that, did we have sex? Yes, we had sex. Well, can you tell me what happened? Yeah, I guess I got to tell you where it happened. It happened in the back of the truck and we did it this way and that way. And it's like, okay, wait, but you never told anyone that. You never did this.
Yeah.
So to me, I thought people started believing, okay, the story is just that fish is getting bigger and bigger.
So 16-year-old, you attacked the first time with her consistently.
Yeah. So with the 16-year-old, it was more just pointing out, okay, you said this. You agree you said that before. Do you remember saying this? Yeah. Now you understand that those things are inconsistent. Maybe that's argumentative, but we're sitting there looking at her and she had to say, yeah, those are. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not being mean. I'm not going to tear you down. I'm just pointing out you said it this day. You said this day. You said that day. And then you said this. So I'm trying to understand. Also, you got to be a nice guy. You can't just get up and cut up the 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So I was saying it's the only time that I've done a cross-examination from my desk outside of a preliminary hearing. I just sat at the table because I had these books and didn't want to seem intimidating and like, let's just have a conversation. And she went along with it. And just answered the questions. I want to say honestly, which is like, yeah, I'm asking questions. Once you answer honestly,
that's a great strategy.
It's showing you inconsistent, but we're going to just have a conversation. So the younger girl was more animated and even liked me more, I thought, because she had nothing she's like, her story just got more favorable every time she spoke.
For you?
Because she went from the guy penetrating her booty 50 times to that never happening to, oh, he never even penetrated the vagina. And then the next day or later, he was outside the lips and maybe touched So I'm like, damn, they're trying to find penetration by just basically
crossing the plane.
Yeah.
So you went after her with the same type of but her inconsistencies were even more dramatic because she was
right.
Yeah.
She couldn't it just didn't make sense. What she was saying is like they were laying in bed. I didn't even mention like, wow, you went from saying he was penetrating your booty to now he's not even penetrating your vagina with a finger. So we're just going to go with that because you seem like a cool girl just trying to tell a story and go along with what's going on. So,
well, did the prosecutor then try to get her to say it then after your cross?
Now, I want to say the prosecutor may have asked a question. And did you say this to this officer? And she said no. And we just let it go. And I was like, I'm not even going to go. The fact that you just denied it is good enough for me. And we don't need to open that can of worms at all.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty easy then. That was.
Yeah, I'm making it sound easy now, but man, that was a bitch. Then the mom got on the stand.
Oh.
With her crocodile tears and how everything went down, and she was just all over the place as well.
Did she need an interpreter?
She did. And I will say this, I got to give the shout out to the prosecutor because I think I was the only person in there who didn't understand Spanish.
Okay.
So it sucks to say you ask a question and the Spanish speaker is saying it, and before the interpreter can interpret it, the DA objects. And she knows what happened or what's said. So I had to say, can we approach? Your Honor, I don't think it's fair. Obviously, I don't. We need to know what she says before the objection is lodged. And the DA's like, okay, you're right. It was also...
The judge spoke Spanish too?
No.
Okay.
No, but we had about 6 jurors who did.
And so they're hearing the answers to this stuff. Yeah.
And one of my favorite parts was when my guy was on the stand testifying about what the worker did at some toothpick factory or something like that. The interpreter didn't know how to interpret toothpicks or something like that. And so she's looking at the other interpreter. And I hear about 4 jurors say toothpicks. Okay. They're with me. They're listening. They're all on board here. They were like, yeah, okay. But I thought that was a big deal because, I felt like such a disadvantage when everyone's speaking and hearing everything. And I'm like, I don't know
what's going on.
And objection sustained. I'm like, but what did they just say? I need to know what they just said. So the DA was fair enough to say, okay, I'll wait for the interpretation is said so everyone can understand for the record. Then I'll make my objection. I thought that was pretty big as well. But the mom was all over the place. Like I said, she said that she didn't do drugs, and she did. And the only time she did do drugs with her friend, who she believed may have called, did the anonymous phone call.
So let me ask you this. Did you play the call for her and then say, do you know who that is? Or did you just ask her?
Right. There was no phone call.
And did you know that? Is this another one of those questions you didn't know the answer to?
Right. It kind of led to it because I believe that anonymous phone call was done with the whole setup of this is how you get your children here legally.
Yeah.
And let's smoke meth as we talk about it and make this happen.
Got
it. Doesn't. Now my client did say he did start to notice she started to use. So
it sounds like, was this a guy also they called?
No.
Oh, it was a girl.
No. Right. I believe
her friend that's a girl.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't also foreclose any sexual relationship. But
her and a girl kicking it, saying this is how you get your children here legally. You gotta get your children taken away from you, and maybe even say, I know we don't want to do it to your boyfriend because he's such a great dad, but if they say he touched them, yeah, that might get him here legally too. So that's why I think the call ended with, "Oh, I haven't seen anything. I don't know, but I've heard maybe he was touching them." It's like, oh wow, that was just thrown in at the end.
Yeah, it's like it seems like a very methy line of thinking there, right? Like a real tweaker. Like,
well, I think, I don't know this from personal experience, but when you find out that you can stay in this country legally if you are a victim of a crime or children are here victims of some type of neglect, word gets around. And this is a hell of a tangent, but I used to work in this community that was a pretty Jewish community with the
Orthodox Jews.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And it's when I found out about the stereotypes. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know this I never understood like the Jewish stereotype with money.
Gotcha.
and negotiating. And so they would want to rent cars for dirt cheap. And you think, okay, you give it to this person. Man, that whole community knew about it. They took that information back and they told everybody. So everyone wanted to get a car rental for as cheap as possible. They would come and say, you did this for my friend. You did this for my friend. So I thought that's kind of how this thing started happening. Like, hey, you want your children to be here legally.
You probably heard. I mean, word does get around.
Yeah. And so you start sharing the story. So I think I imagine that's kind of how it started going down. And that's why they were telling these stories. So if I can go to after the mom.
Yeah, who's next piece of evidence?
The SART nurse who was saying, this is all consistent.
Consistent, huh?
Right.
Physical evidence consistent.
Consistent with what?
Now, here's the thing that I got to say about the job. I remember I talked to the bailiff about what they thought. I talked to the court reporter. I called some expert. And the lady's like, I'm getting ready to get on the plane. I said, I just need you to answer a few questions if you don't mind. Just help me out. I got this report that's supposed to happen after a year after that last incident. And the expert was like, well, congratulations. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, what? They can't tell anything after a year. It's like, okay. So this is what the information they're saying. She's like, yeah, I've never heard of that. That doesn't make sense. That's nothing. So
what's the SART nurse anyways?
What's that stand for?
Well, what's their job?
Sexual assault response team.
Sexual assault. Okay.
And what's their job?
They take the report of someone saying they were raped, document what they're saying happened, and looking for any physical evidence to support their story. Is that fair to say?
That is very...
Is it done in a forensic type setting, or...?
You go to the doctor's office.
Doctor's office?
I believe it's usually done in a hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah. I think those are two separate. It's
Okay.
not just like some guy's office at some office park. It's like usually at like...
Well, some hospital, you go to the doctor.
Like a sterilized environment.
It's not some white van,
Mobile.
Mobile van down by the
They just
river.
put your feet up in the stirrups and they just check you out. No, they take photographs. They're supposed to do DNA swabs, right?
So you wanted an expert to counter this piece of evidence.
I just want an expert to know, like...
What are they saying?
Can I just... Is there anything... Because I believe everyone... It seemed to be common knowledge outside of me is that you can't prove anything that happened a year ago and say that this guy did that. Now, if the 10-year-old came in with a tampered booty, then you'd be able to say, yeah, that happened. But there's nothing with no physical evidence on the 10-year-old, the younger girl. And the older girl, she had sex.
Oh, so she was sexually active outside of this alleged relationship with her stepdad.
Right.
According to, how was that actual, did she admit?
She admitted that to probably the SART nurse.
No.
She did not.
How do you know the 6-year-old was sexually active?
She was 16.
So you just inferred.
And she knew a lot about sexual activity?
She had been out of the country back home.
Oh, where
she was the American who came back and was chilling.
Gotcha.
So she came back. I mean, but there's nothing to tell. Now, there was evidence that another relative older guy had stayed with them one said for a week, one said for a month, one said for 3 months. And my guy's like, the dude was staying there for like a year. So, I mean, they're all just kind of like downplaying that this other guy, older relative, was there during this time and bounced when things started getting crazy.
And who is this guy?
Right. That's all I need the jury.
That's all you got to throw out there.
That's all I need the jury to think. Who's this guy? Yeah. Some guy who they can't consistently say how long he lived with them. So one thing about this SART nurse was like, oh, it matched up with us. So everything you're going off of is what this girl told you. Yeah. So outside of her story, could you tell it? No, you can't.
There was no physical evidence to corroborate her story.
So you can't tell. And they came back. She said if it had been a year, you can tell. As a month, you can't tell. What about a week? She's like, well, maybe you could still see something from a week if it happened a week before. So that's interesting because she came back from where she was visiting and was home for a week before she saw the SART nurse. So you can't tell anything. And so the SART nurse kept using the word trauma. So the vagina had trauma this and trauma that. And I finally was like, okay, when you say trauma, you're just saying it's just not completely normal as it was. There's nothing really traumatic about it. And she's like, yeah. And the jury seemed to be like, oh, okay, yeah. That word trauma just had everyone thinking she was just abused.
There's certain medical terms that like blunt force, like when someone expert says blunt force trauma, that's really just any sort of pressure.
Any pressure.
Pressure.
Right. Yeah.
Just
But
like
it sounds
touching
like,
your head.
Wow.
Blunt.
You know, you must have been really knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
No, I bumped my head.
As like defense attorneys, we have to like tackle these phrases and when we cross-examine. So you had to like address trauma because they're going with trauma.
Right.
And they're going with the word consistent also. Didn't they say it was consistent with what she said?
Right.
I mean, you're
So
just
you have
It's
to tackle
based upon this
consistent.
girl lying.
yeah.
So
That's it.
So you don't know if she's telling you the truth or anything like that. So if this girl is completely lying to you, you don't know. You're just going off her story. Yeah. And the trauma. And I thought it was another key when the whole jury seemed to, okay. Like, we're sitting here thinking trauma means that she was just really abused when it means that, no, she may have had sex at some point.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a big thing.
But okay, so then Sartner testified. Did people put on any other evidence beside that then?
No, I believe that the three alleged victims and the Sartners.
Oh,
yes.
and no police?
No inconsistent statements to say the girl said this, or probably didn't want to
No police officer. I think
highlight
I think they did put it the officer. He would have been just saying, "Well, she told me this," and it would have been different from.
Yeah, we didn't want to build on the inconsistency.
And I was very close to calling him.
Wow. Okay.
I was very close. I made sure the DA kept him around because I was like, I think I'm gonna. Because you heard all that stuff she's saying. It's different.
Let me ask you: did they? I mean, in most cases like this, there probably is an IO. Was there an IO signed to this case?
Yeah, he was sitting there
the whole time.
The whole time.
Got it. Okay. And for people, our listeners, an IO is an investigating officer that pretty much is just assigned. The law allows the police to sit in on trials, even though they're not lawyers. They get to sit right next to the prosecutor.
Yeah, the investigator that gets all the evidence ready for the prosecutor.
Yeah,
gets to sit
coordinates
there and
the witnesses, and make sure the DA knows exactly what to ask. Make sure you don't miss.
Ask this.
Make sure you ask that. Don't forget this.
To the whole, it's fair.
Yeah,
No,
it's totally fair. Yeah, they get
they
get a professional witness that investigated the case that gets to sit next to them during the trial.
And in their defense, because that's what I do.
Yeah, a defense
is that they do have the burden. And it's a pretty high burden.
They have the burden in a philosophical sense, but okay.
But if you really want to break it down how high that burden is, it's pretty fucking high.
It's up here by the American flag, man. Up there. That's what I like to say. Not down here by my shoes. Yeah.
When Willis is in trial, it's a high burden.
Yeah, it's a high burden.
Yeah, hey man, that's how you get a fair jury. You want to be a fair jury?
Yeah.
Come in with a clean slate and you make sure you hold these people to this high ass burden beyond any.
Be a snooty ass person. Yeah, it's not good enough.
I like that.
You gotta be snooty. You gotta be snooty.
You gotta
be like stuck up. You gotta be stuck up.
You gotta be willing to turn back and say, "This food's not good enough. I want to return my plate. The steak is it's well done. I asked for medium rare."
Yeah, that's not medium rare.
Are you the kind of person that does that?
I got a new question right here.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I got that.
The person that returns
return food.
When you order food and they give you your order wrong, do you just take it and be like, "Well, I don't want to cause a problem," or do you fucking send it back?
Do you let them know there's a burden?
Yeah.
To satisfy you as a customer. And
I'm paying you some money, and your obligation is to provide me.
I ordered a cheeseburger and fries, and you gave me a steak sandwich and a salad. That's not what the order was. That's not what was advertised.
That's funny.
It may be good, but it's not what you advertised.
I like that even better.
Right,
yeah, you got the burger.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the buns.
Not close enough.
But there's no damn cheese.
Yeah. And your honey's like, no, don't make a scene. Don't make a scene. Let's just eat it. Just eat it. No, let's not cause a disturbance.
Do you take 3 bites? Or do you take 1?
Yeah.
Or do you just look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So now did you put on I know you said your client testified, so you definitely put on the case. Besides your client, did anybody else testify?
Yes. As a matter of fact, before my client testified, I did call the DCFS workers.
Oh, yeah.
Those motherfuckers, man.
How many DCFS workers did you call?
I had 3 come. The first one came, honored the subpoena. I said, okay, you cool. Okay, I'm sorry we couldn't get to you there. You got to come back tomorrow. And left, didn't come back. But the other one who I subpoenaed came in, said, oh, you did this, you did that. What's your job? Oh, I have to interview the kids. I have to do all this and make sure because my report goes to the judge and the judge decides what should happen with the children. Oh, so your job is hella serious. This is very important. You got to be on point because the judge is going to look at your report and decide where these kids should stay or go or something. So you got to make sure you're doing a hell of a job. Yeah. Okay. And you ever interview children? You're trained in how to interview. Yeah, how do you know if someone's lying? Well, they look away, the eye contact, they stutter, they don't send when you interviewed these kids, where'd you interview them? In a room alone? How far away from you? Oh, we're like 2 feet away from each other. So if they were to avoid eye contact or stutter, you would be able to see that. Right. Did any of that happen here? No. I don't recall. Well, if it did, you would put in your report, right? Right. Is that in your report? No, because you would want the judge to see this. Right. And you didn't put that in the report, so the judge wouldn't see it because it didn't happen. Is that fair to say? Yeah. They were hella reluctant to answer. And it was almost like I went to say, Your Honor, please allow me to treat this person as a hostile witness. I seen that on TV. And they was like pulling teeth, but.
So you called them to testify to that the girls did not mention sexual abuse.
Right.
But did they ask the girls about sexual abuse?
Yes. Because
the meth call
That's
with
right.
the guy saying, maybe I heard something. This could be a fact that these kids might have been touched by their dad.
But also, they not only for them to say that we asked the girls about it and they denied it, but they also professed their love for him.
Oh.
So like, yeah, he treated us like our children. We called him daddy. He would never do anything to hurt us. So you interviewed these girls and you felt it was okay for them to go back. Well, I don't remember saying that. Well, you mind if we go to your report? You want to review your report? Your memories are fresh? Yeah, you said that, huh? So yeah, you did your job. You made this report because everything was fine. So my argument was these girls couldn't I don't think they could fool a DCFS worker being caught off guard, being asked about this stuff for the first time. And if it was so bad, they were afraid for their mom when there was no proof of any domestic violence because the children are trying to say that he's beating her from day one. The mom was like, nah, we had one incident where I'm sorry, that he threw soup at my feet.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't like how I cooked and jurors laughed. And I was like, oh man, these jurors are cool as fuck, right? And so I was like, okay, the children are making up the domestic violence. The mom's saying none of that happened.
And the fish is getting bigger, man.
And so DCFS was just saying, nah, these kids seem to be good. And they seem to be fit to go home. And the family was good. They seemed comfortable. So we let them go back home. And then they said the rape started again. And then he moved them to a bigger house. So as long as they went from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom to a big ass house. And this dude's just taking care of him, working his ass off. And the jurors like, hey, he was the most credible witness. He was the only person. Now, I know this might mess up the story, but he did say that at some point when she was fighting and yelling and being drunk and having a fit, and he went following her like, what are you doing? He was lifting her off the ground. He pulled her by her hair like to get up. She went dead weight and he let her go.
Oh, this is him and the mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's why I would say that he basically admitted to a battery.
Got it.
So there was the lesser domestic violence was reduced. The jury found him
domestic violence.
So I think Alpha was clear for me. So the mom testified the domestic violence was when he did what to her?
Threw soup.
Or no, that's what the girl said he did.
The mom was saying that he said, I don't cook. I need to learn to do more than hamburgers and pizza.
Uh-huh.
And the jurors were just like, oh, wow.
And he just threw
you guys
soup.
are having an argument. And he threw soup at your feet. And the DA was like, was it hot soup? No, it wasn't.
Scalding hot, 3rd-degree burn.
She was like, no, it wasn't.
Let me see your feet.
Yeah, that's what killed me. I was like, yeah, that sound bad if he threw fucking hot soup on her face. But did he throw it at you? It landed by my feet. Was the soup hot? No. It's like, what the hell?
So it was misdemeanor domestic violence.
No, it was felony domestic violence because she's saying that he beat her and bruised her, and she had a picture on the computer that she had taken that it was like, we can't even tell when this picture was taken. Oh, there's other things she said. My older daughter took the picture. And the older daughter testifies like, I don't have that Nintendo thing to take the picture. Must have been my younger daughter. It must have been my sister.
Oh, and so nobody could say when they
took the sister was like, I didn't take pictures. I don't remember taking the pictures. And then the mom was like, I'm not sure which daughter took the picture. I'm like, oh, we don't know if you made these pictures up through some Photoshop shit.
Yeah.
So they had pictures of her with bruises on her eyes that the jury saw, and I guess they didn't believe it. And so she was saying when they got to this house, he had punched her and kicked her and did all this stuff. He got up and said, "That's not how it happened. This is what happened."
And then part of his admission, he said that she was
Grabbed her
drunk
by the-
and crazy on the ground, so he pulled her up by the hair.
Right. Like she was on the floor, on the ground, and he's like picking her up, like, "Get up." And he grabbed her by her hair, like, to get up. And she just went dead weight, and he let her go.
And the jurors convicted him of
The misdemeanor battery.
domestic battery.
Right.
All
Which
right.
I was kind of like, dude, he's been in for a
So,
year.
I mean, it's not rare, but it's doesn't always happen that our clients testify. So he testified. Tell me a little bit about DA's cross of your client.
You know what? I remember I thought it was kind of dirty that she was trying to say, you think one sister is pretty, and you thought one was like a boy, and you found them attractive. And he's like, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Those are my daughters. They're very attractive. They're very beautiful. But she was trying to make it seem like you're attracted to them as opposed to them being attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So he kept trying to say, and she was trying to say, because he's like, oh, this one, she's like my son. She's always dirty, always running around. And this one's the pretty one, the princess. So she's like, so you thought one was prettier than the other? Like, nah, I didn't think that. They're my daughters, basically.
Right.
Right. I mean, he was very genuine and like.
And the DA's
No,
trying to
I'm
go
not.
dirty.
He's like, no, I'm not attracted to them. These are little girls. These are my daughters. They're both pretty in their own way.
That means she didn't have much of a case then.
Now her cross-examination was kind of reaching, hoping to get him confused or caught up in some stuff.
And your client's testimony essentially was, hey, I've never touched these girls. I just supported them. I love them. I care. I do this. I do that with them. I don't know where this is coming from.
And that's what the girls had told
DCFS
as well.
I mean, that's really props to your client to keep that kind of composure on the stand, given that, I mean, if I was in the same shoes and they were accusing me of, sexual perversion or abuse or whatever, I'd just be like, I'd be like, fuck these girls, like, I mean, it's hard to be like, I love these kids. I mean, I'm not a parent. Maybe that's part of it, but like, to say, you're accusing me of this and I still love you and I still get it and I find you beautiful.
And you know what the thing was? I believe he felt sorry for them
Because they've been put up to this.
They've been put up to it. And he was like, I'm not blaming them because I know they're just following whatever the mom is making them say or the family members back home. But I love them. I treated them well. Those are my daughters. I found them both. They're both pretty. They're both smart. Now he had said one was smart, one wasn't as smart. So she's a dumb little kid or whatnot. And she was trying to he's trying to pit him, I guess trying to piss him off, and he just wouldn't go for that.
Any other evidence come in the trial or anything unusual? Anything?
Damn, I did just have something. One thing, he had sent a message. He left a voice message like, if you tell him I did this, I'm going to tell him that you knew about it. And yeah, you knew about me and the oldest daughter having sex for the last 6 months. And you knew about it. And I'm going to hire Michael Jackson's attorney.
You sent that message to the mom?
Yeah.
Like a letter?
Voicemail.
Voice message?
So they played it in court. And so I remember a cross-examination, I had, 3-inch stack of transcripts of his voicemails, text messages. And so I asked the mom, so he sent a lot of messages. He did a lot of messages, and I held up the book so the jury could see it. And I argued, this is the only thing? Out of all this stuff, this is the only part you get? You take something out of context? But let's look at what he said. He said he was having sex with her for the last 6 months. We know that wasn't true because she wasn't even in the country. And he's basically saying, if you want to lie on me, I'm going to lie on you. And he says he's hiring Michael Jackson's attorney. And
I'm not Michael Jackson's
attorney. I'm not Michael Jackson's attorney. Now, the best part of that is when I was speaking to the jury, I didn't know. Were you Michael Jackson's attorney? Nah, man, nah. But I picked a great jury.
That's smooth criminal.
Yeah, the jury says, so are you private? I'm like, nah. You're a public defender?
Public defender? My fellow defender? Good job.
Yeah.
So what was the jury verdicts then?
They're hung.
On everything?
On everything?
No.
Okay, so
2 counts.
break it down for us.
10, they were hung on 2 counts, not guilty, and they reached a verdict.
On the domestic violence.
Right. So they reached a verdict on 2 or 3.
You
The
said there
domestic
were
violence
6
was
counts.
reduced to the,
all
they
the
found
all the sex charges were not guilty?
No,
2 of them were hung.
Oh.
The penetration of the girl under 10.
Okay.
And the rape.
Really? So what was the count, the split?
10-2.
So two people believe.
So they put out in the note, we have a difficulty. 2 people aren't
deliberating.
Basically, we need more. And the judge made us re-argue. Yeah, I left that part out.
Shut up.
Yeah, I left that part out.
I didn't even know that this happened.
So we don't know which way it's going. It's 10-2. He said, what else do you guys need? Well, we need to know reasonable doubt. And it's like, read them this instruction, judge. Said, okay, you need more argument for reasonable doubt or this and that. Okay, we're going to have counsel argue again.
Wow, that's unusual because usually it's just reading the instructions or read back of testimony.
And they came out, said that we have a count 10-2, and they said anything else, and someone said, okay, yeah, so the judge sent them back again. So it's like, fuck, I was happy to hang it 10-2, which I don't even know what it was for. So then after they went back, deliberated some more, they came back, said, what do you have? Said, we still need more. The judge said, will it help to have them re-argue? I don't know about that. And that, so judge said, we're going to do this again. We're going to argue. And I said, we don't need to argue. Just read reasonable doubt. Judge says, Willis, if you don't want to argue, you don't have to argue. Just 5 minutes. The people can do theirs. If you don't want to do it, that's
kind
fine.
Of a gauntlet.
So I said, all right. And I got up and said, reasonable doubt varies from person to person. Oh, in my closing, let me say this, is that I said, I'm not asking about how many punches was taken. I'm not asking, they said at the wedding, we're not asking how they cut the cake. Asking where the wedding took place. Asking where the fight took place. I'm not asking what time was the penetration. If you don't remember the first time, whether it's good or bad, we always remember the first time, no matter what. If you liked it, you remember. If you hate it, you remember the first time. That doesn't change. You remember that story. I'm not asking all the details of where and how many times. I just want to know where the first time was, and we couldn't get that right. Now, it's a reasonable doubt. That could vary from you. That could vary from person to person. If you think you have a reasonable doubt, you have a reasonable doubt. And it's okay. You don't have to change. Because I'll take 2 people right now. Because we're talking about life.
Because you didn't know. You didn't know at the time if it was 2 for not guilty or 10 for not guilty. So you were like, worst case scenario right now, I only got 2 people on this.
Stick to your guns, people. Remember we talked about that in voir dire. Are you going to be sticking to your vote because he's entitled to your individual vote?
Are you going to send that steak sandwich back? When you ordered a cheeseburger?
Or the salad. Even though you're
yeah.
And they went back and came back and said, well, it's 10-2 and 11-1. And they're like, no, that's not right. It's not right.
Oh, I got some vocal.
And then the guy's like, well, Your Honor, I thought it was 10-2 and one was 11-1 because someone said not guilty, even innocent. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Who says that? Judge sends him back again, recount. So it's like the 3rd or 4th time that I thought we were about to hear the verdict and maybe hang it. And each time they go back, you're scared that
they're going to come back and switch.
Right.
Do you think the judge wants a guilty verdict? Do you feel like the judge wanted a guilty verdict?
I like to think judges just want verdicts. And anytime you got 10-2 and they're wavering, it's usually because 10 people are saying guilty and 2 people are holding out. So I think in this case, the judge was like, dude, try to figure out and get the guilty. And then when they came out again, it was like, hey, we can't reach it. We got verdicts on these, but not on these counts. And I was like, okay, these are the live counts. I'm cool with 2 people. And then when she asked what were the votes for, 10 for 10 for not guilty.
Oh.
And 2 for guilty.
Oh. Yeah. You're like, well,
start sitting up like,
wait,
what the hell is going on? The whole room seemed to have a fresher scent. It's like, wait, what's going on here? And they start reading the verdicts, and the clerk said, and I was going down the list, and I must have miscounted because when the clerk said guilty, I just dropped because I knew I didn't want to get excited because I felt like any one of these can be this dude's gonna be fucked.
1 strike life, yeah.
It's like, okay, Not guilty. I was like, okay. Guilty. I was like, shit. Guilty on 243E1. I was like, wait, what? And then not guilty. And I was just sitting there. Well, okay. Turned the interpreter. I said, they said not guilty, right? I said, yes, Mr. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Willis.
Yes, Mr. Willis.
Yes, sir, Willis.
Yeah.
What you talking about? Sorry. After the jurors are like, we were looking at you and we were wondering what was wrong. Because you got the not guilties, but you still seem so
distraught.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't sure.
So you talked to the jurors afterwards?
Talked to him for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
It's the longest I ever had.
Prosecutor there too?
No.
Just you. Okay.
Right. And out of the 12, I want to say even the alternate, maybe had an alternate. The only one who didn't stay was the older ex-cop who I thought was the retired Latino dude who would be able to say, okay, yeah. And and they were asking, why'd you keep him? That guy was an ass.
Oh, right. And he must have been one of the guilty votes.
He was and the other guilty was some engineer who was like, yeah, I wasn't sure about this and that, but he was able to look me in the eyes and tell me this is what I was kind of caught up on.
So be able to articulate exactly.
So wait, so the engineer voted guilty even though he had problems with the case?
Yeah.
Did you ask him why he voted guilty still?
He said, I just felt like I believed her. I believed this one. I believed that one. And I was like, okay. I didn't really care to hear from you anymore.
Yeah.
But I thank you for staying and telling me as a man. But everyone's like, yeah, you did a great job.
As a man.
The other dude left like.
Yeah, that's a bitch made move, right? Especially if you're a former
this.
police officer. It's like, you know exactly what you did, your bias, right? If you really believe in it.
A former police.
First of all, if you're a police officer.
He was somehow, I think he was I wouldn't say he was retired. God, yeah. And they were like, why'd you keep him? You ran out of, you couldn't kick anymore? And I was like, God damn it.
My stepdad.
I just completely misread that.
My stepdad's a police officer, detective, retired now, but like anytime we would go anywhere, like he'd be like, if we sat in the movies, you know, like you sit next to other families, and if he was on the end of our family and then there was like a little girl next to him, he'd be like, switch seats. I am not sitting next to this little girl. I know that a case can happen anytime. You avoid little girls, like plague, you know, like
you don't get on the elevator.
No,
nope. See some little girl in the elevator, get off that shit. You never know, man. Like I said, someone's word is enough to get you arrested. Doesn't need to have any evidence behind it.
Did you get any other insight from the jury that you felt was helpful or particularly insightful on the case?
I will say that they just thought the people's witnesses were incredible. They thought the most credible witness was the defendant. And he seemed very sincere. And I wish I could say it was my preparation for him, but I think that my best way of preparing is like, just tell the truth. We don't have to shape anything. Just tell your story.
Well, by the time the trial starts, you've spent a considerable amount of time with your client. You got to know him.
Well, what I like to do is I do my opening. I mean, I talk to him about what the case is. And it's mostly about what the evidence they're going to put up. Because if he gets up there and he sounds too rehearsed,
yeah,
I don't think that's going to be good. So I'll do my opening to him, summarizing his version of events and say, is that accurate? Yeah. Then I do my opening. I sit down next to him. Was that right? Did I say everything right? Okay. This is evidence. Throughout every break. Before lunch, I would go back there and try to spend time with him and kind of recap things and kind of give an idea of what we're about to do. And I told him they're going to deliberate this long, probably come back, and I think you're going to be going home on this day. And it's pretty much what happened. He spent 1 year in custody to the day.
So let me ask you this also. So generally, when you hang, the DAs can just, they get to go again, right? Why not in this case? Why didn't they go again?
Well, this happened before lunch, and the DA said, well, we want to talk about it. And I told the judge, I was like, I know that you can do this on your own. They're not going to put up any more evidence. They put up all their evidence. They shot all their bullets. They have nothing left. You can decide to case. I know what I can do, but we'll meet after lunch and see what the district attorney has to say. And I think they came back because there was nothing else to add. They put up everything they had. There was no other witnesses. There was no other evidence. And you had 10 people saying no. So kicked it. and that dude was out
What was
3 hours later.
What was the posture before the case? Like, was there any negotiations, or was it straight just this is a trial? It's a life case. We're not. Was there something your client was willing to take to settle the case? Was the DA offering something?
They were off. I believe it's like 14 to 16 years.
Talk about earlier.
Okay, and she's like, nah, it's too much time, and you have to register for the rest of your life. Nah.
Yeah,
I'm doing that. So it wasn't a case where it's like a good negotiation and we could walk away this and everyone would be happy. He's like, nah, I'm going to life or I'm walking out of here, but nothing in between.
Why was your client in custody for a year? What were you waiving time on? Or did the
private counsel
do that? Like, what was the investigation that was needed, or the DCFS records?
Yeah, it was some records to review just to get on point with that. As for, am I going to call these people? Can I find them? What's the reason why they're... Had to find out what SIGIS was.
Yeah.
Had to find out... Had some help from paralegals. Had to go look at the DCFS case. Go some records downtown. Okay. Downtown, anywhere America.
Yeah, I got you. Downtown, where they keep all the records, man.
Right.
I got you.
All right.
But I did hear them say not guilty.
Yeah.
On a couple of counts.
And in your closing argument, did you do the theme from Voir dire about you can believe somebody, or what was that thing that the prosecutor said?
Yeah. Just because they say it doesn't make it reasonable and true. That was a big hit. The credibility.
That was a big hit. Like the jurors responded. Like,
you can't just because they got up here and said something.
Yeah.
You still remember you said you hold them to that burden. Just because kids are saying it, that doesn't make it true. That's what the DA told you. I agree with that. I don't know how. I think I can wrap this up just as awkwardly as we started.
There we go.
Good job. Good job, fellow defender.
Willis.
Defender Willis.
Yeah. I appreciate your time.
It's a great not guilty, and then a couple hangs there.
Yeah.
On the right side there.
The guy walked out.
Love to have you back, man. The next time you get a walk like that, man.
I don't know if I'll ever have one like that again.
Yeah, right. That's one of those special.
Are you gonna
ones.
have an engineer on your case in the future, or maybe you don't vibe with engineers? You know.
You know what? The crazy thing is, a colleague told me, "You left an engineer on." Nah, never leave on an engineer. And I was like, "Nah, this one was cool."
No, but people say that, but like I like to keep engineers on my juries because I feel like sometimes if I'm making a technical argument about the burden, reasonable doubt. They're like, my dad's an engineer. I feel like I can pitch him that hard. He's like, well, yeah, they didn't technically meet their burden. And you can pitch that like.
I think that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But when the guy told me,
he just
you should have kept the engineer. And then one of the guilties was the engineer. I was like, God damn, this dude was right. I think you only keep engineers if you're dealing with some computers.
Computer case.
The DUI machine.
The ECIR machine.
If they don't do the weight. Engineer's like, you can't do that. That doesn't matter. You didn't do it right. It's not valid.
Do you know who was a good juror in this next case I brought up earlier? Was this lady had 2 stepkids, but she wasn't a mom herself, and she had called the police on her own stepkids. And I was like, this lady doesn't like children. You can stay on this sex abuse case.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know why the prosecutor kept her. I was like.
Did you ask her any questions?
No, it was it was a in chamber. She didn't want the whole other jurors to know she called the police. So she's
yeah, that's enough.
I'll call the police on my piece of shit stepkids.
We won't talk to you anymore.
I have no questions, Your Honor. Nothing. Let's keep her on this.
At all.
Well, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Another Not Guilty. Shout out to Daniel Mark, original A&G theme music composer, and Mike Grimm for the remix. And guess what? We'll be back in 2 weeks with another Not Guilty straight from the trenches.